I Am by Milan Helikowski. I am handsome and majestic. I pretend to be the most handsome dude ever. I feel mad when people bully others. I cry when I get hurt. I am handsome and majestic. I understand people's differences. I say, awesome. I dream that I am rich. I try to fit in. I want acceptance. I am handsome and majestic. Some of my favorite things are hanging out with my friends and family, hanging out with my 2-year-old nephew, and doing sports and going swimming and playing basketball and bike riding. Those are things that I like to do. I feel like I'm more mature than lots of people, but I still am a kid, you know? And I think I'm still growing up. I didn't really know exactly who I was. Like, I always knew I was a boy, but I didn't know exactly. You know, like, Lulu would always call me her brother before anybody else did and before I knew I was transgender, which was really cool because that's kind of what I needed, you know?
Milan is an awesome brother. At school, whenever I see him, I'll run up to him, I'll give him hugs. And he'll be all embarrassed, he'll like, It's really funny. I do it to bug him. I guess I just knew when I was little, I'd just be like, oh, my brother, oh, my sister, just my brother.
I do bottom, you do top.
I didn't know what trans was. I just assumed Milan was a lesbian, or gonna be, like, whatever, I don't care. I just wanted my child and all my children to be healthy and happy with who they are. And that was hard to watch this little person turn into this super anxious, depressed child.
One on the top and one on the bottom?
One on the bottom that way, that one on the bottom that way.
Milan had always been bullied. It started probably in grade 1. And in fact, I believe that the bullying that Milan experienced really was facilitated by the adults in the building. Some years Milan had some good teachers, but there were some really terrible experiences where they would do things like force Milan to correct other kids who called Milan a boy. If Milan didn't, then Milan would be called up in front of the class and be told, you have to tell them you're lying and that you're really a girl.
Well, at my old school, lots of people always made fun of me for no reason and just singled me out. When they excluded me from playing hockey or anything, I would tell the teachers and they really wouldn't do anything about it. And they would make me use the girls' washroom and the girls' change room. I would have to hide in the girls' bathroom and sneak in there and sneak out, make sure no one saw me because all the little kids would scream and all the big kids would tease me. If I would sneak in and use the boys' washroom, and if they found out, I would get a detention. And I was in like grade 1 when that first happened. I would basically be told to shut up and not say anything. So I just never really argued back or said anything. I just kind of did what I was told to do. I think adults like that are really childish and don't like to see anything different, and if they do, it scares them.
Milan's doctor here in town asked Milan and I if we would come and speak to the new doctors. She said, I want them to hear what it's like to be a trans kid in a northern community. By the time Milan was in grade 5, things were spiraling out of control. 2 of the boys in his class, the same boys that had always bullied him, brutally, physically, and sexually assaulted Milan. They did extensive damage to his body and spirit. Tragically, the school's response was terrible. Milan was told to not talk about the assault at school or he would be expelled. Milan told 2 friends outside of school, and true to their word, when the school found out, Milan was questioned by a teacher in front of the very boys that assaulted him. The boys were thanked for not getting defensive, and then Milan was expelled. After Milan was expelled, my beautiful child attempted suicide. I saw the light go out of his eyes, and thus began the long, long journey back.
I watched my child be miserable for years, trying to be something that he wasn't, and everybody telling him he was something he wasn't. And I come from a different life, right? Like, I lived on the streets for a long time, and I struggled, and I came through life. And realistically, I didn't have an understanding of any kind of things like that. And to be here in this city and to kind of watch the non-understanding, and then to be the person at home that's not understanding, you know, thinking back on it, it really hurts. I wish I would have heard his words sooner, right? Or educated myself. So, yeah. I can't dwell on that. I can only be the best that I can now for him and give him every opportunity that he deserves.
I was reading a pamphlet about what LGBTQ, and there's even other words, what all of them meant. And I read it once, and I saw the word transgender, and I read it. I didn't understand what it meant. And I read it a second time, and I completely understood what it meant. And things changed for me because I finally had a word to tell people what I was, instead of being confused and not really knowing. Out in schools came and did a presentation, and the one guy who was talking outed himself to a whole bunch of strangers and said that he was trans. And it was really cool. It made me feel like powerful, I guess. I don't know why. I think it was because I thought that I can do that, you know, and that I guess kind of like they were kind of like an inspiration for me.
Milan is receiving the Phoenix Award for our Pride Week in Prince George, and our local paper did an article, a full-page article on Milan, which was really well done, I have to say. And that day, there was all sorts of really positive stuff all over my Facebook. And I saw a private message from someone I don't know about this mom who lives blocks from me, who has a trans boy who just came out 2 months ago. And so for me, it was like an answer to a prayer to the gods that this family who lives down the road, who's had a similar struggle to ours, has been here all along, right?
You guys ready?
The same age as me, and he has a lot in common with me. And we've only known each other for, I guess, a short period of time, but we're already best friends. And it felt really, really cool and awesome that, you know, that I wasn't the only one.
When I met you, I was just like, I had anxiety. I was like, oh my God, I'm finally gonna meet someone just like me. It's like meeting a twin.
Yeah, and feel like there's other people out there who are like the same as us. And
What Paige would have, like she'd have friends and then I kind of like join along, but I've never made a friend like you before, like on my own.
yeah, I was nervous about how I should act, but then as soon as you started hanging out with me, I was just like, I was acting like really normal and wasn't acting like a cool dude.
Yeah, just like acting normal, just be you. You don't need to act some way just to make someone happy. Like in the middle of the school year, I dressed up like a girl to make people in my class happy.
Yeah.
That was a bad idea though, because I knew that's what I didn't want.
Yeah, you should always do something that makes you happy and do it for you.
I've never seen a young man rise up with a smile on his face after so much. I wrote him a letter once telling him that that he was my hero. Because, you know, no matter what, you know, he just stands back up, right?
It makes me feel really good that I'm able to start making a difference. I think it's important for me to stay here so that I can help educate people and so that people don't have to travel all the way down to Vancouver to get resources, and it can be in where they live, you know, just so that this place can be a more accepting town and you don't have to be afraid to be who you want to be. I'm Milan, and I am a trans boy. There was a time that I could not admit my true self in public. This changed just recently. I've always known that I am a boy, but most people didn't believe me. At my new school, I still get bullied, but I have some support now. I am not broken. I don't need to be fixed. I am handsome and majestic. I am handsome and majestic.